All right, guys, here's some support on question number 8 of that spring break activity. So the question says to solve for all of your values of x by factoring, okay? For me to solve by factoring, I need to make sure that everything is on the same side, all right? Because again, when you're solving by factoring, you need factored form. The only way to get factored form from this quadratic is if you have everything on the same side, all right? So I would add 4x, add 4x to the other x term. That gets canceled. How do you move a positive 5? You subtract 5 from your other constant, cancels. Your x squared you bring down. Negative 4x plus positive 4x cancels each other out or leaves you with 0. Negative 59 minus 5 is negative 64. All right. Now you're going to factor this. When you're factoring this, guys, if you realize it does not look like your standard form, all right, it does not have an x. So normally you see something that looks like this, okay? But you did not see that for this question, all right? So the way we're going to factor it, guys, is like this. So this is how you're going to factor it, okay? You're going to write those two pairs of parentheses, okay? What gives you x squared, an x and an x? Now you ask yourself, what two same numbers multiply to give me 64? Those two same numbers is an 8 and an 8, all right? So you'd have a positive 8 and a negative 8, all right? So it says we're finding x. So my x would be the flip of these. Again, I would now flip the signs of these. It will be a positive 8 and your x is a negative. Oh, so a negative 8 and your x will be a positive 8. All right. So again, guys, just like that. Okay. So negative 8 and a positive 8. All right. So it doesn't matter the order you would put them. So if you put positive 8, negative 8, it'll still be correct. All right. So let's try another one, guys. Let's try another one. All right. So for this one, again, the first thing you're gonna do is make sure that everything is on the same what? Side. All right. So to move everything to the same side, I would add 5 to both sides. This will get canceled, and you have x squared. Negative 41 plus 5 is negative 36. Okay, so this is kind of like the question we just did before. So this is what the factored form would look like. What gives you x squared? X times x. What two same numbers give you 36? 6 and 6. All right, so I would have a positive 6 and a negative 6. So your two values of x are the flip of these, negative 6 and positive 6. All right, because again, you have to flip these. Okay. So again, guys, you know that you have to flip them, okay, because it tells you to solve. Solve means that you're finding the value of x. Okay. So again, guys, the answer would be positive 6 and negative 6. All right. And as I said, it doesn't matter the order you type them in. Okay. So let's try the next one. All right. So again, guys, first thing we're going to do, make sure everything's on the same side by adding 6x. Am I going to add it to x squared, negative 2x, or negative 28? To the negative 2x, because that's the like term. That gets canceled. And then now I'm going to move the positive 4 by subtracting 4. All right. Am I going to subtract it from x squared or negative 28? From the negative 28. And that gets canceled. So the x squared, I'm going to bring it down because I did not add or subtract anything to it. Negative 2x plus 6x is positive 4x. And negative 28 minus 4 is negative 32. So this we can just factor. So we write two pairs of parentheses. I put my x's. Now I find all the numbers that give me 32, which is 1 and 32 when I multiply them. 2 times 16 when I multiply them. 3 does not work. 4 times 8 when I multiply them. All right. So I believe those are all the numbers. All right. So I need to figure out which pair would add and subtract to give me a 4. That pair would be the 4 and the 8. So I put my 4 and my 8. Okay. When you see a negative here, you think about different signs. All right. So if I have a positive and a negative, so if I had a positive 4 and a negative 8, what's 4 minus 8? That's a negative 4. All right. Did we want a negative 4? No. We wanted a positive 4. All right. So if I had a positive 8 and a negative 4, 8 take away 4 is positive 4. So you need a positive 8 and a negative 4. All right. So again, because the question tells you to solve, you need to flip these. So your answers is going to be positive 4 and negative 8. All right. And it doesn't matter which one you type in first, okay? As long as those signs are indeed the correct things that they're supposed to be. So again, a negative 8 and a positive 4. All right. So let's try the next one. So again, guys, let's try the next one. All right. So for this one, firstly, you gotta make sure everything's on the same side. To move a positive 5x, I will subtract 5x. Subtract 5x from the other x term. And then subtract 5 from the constant. All right. So the x squared, I bring it down. This will technically be a 1x. So 1x minus 5x is negative 4x. All right. Negative 27 minus 5 is negative 32. All right, we got 32 again. So write factored form. So I put my x. What numbers give you 32? 1 and 32. 2 and 16. Yep, 2 and 16. All right, and then 4 and 8. Okay, so which pair do you think will give you a 4? The 4 and the 8. Okay. Now, when I see a negative here, I think about different signs. So that means one of them is positive, one is negative, all right? If your 8 was positive and your 4 was negative, 8 take away 4 is positive 4. But what do we need? We need a negative 4, all right? So if I had a positive 4 and a negative 8, all right, 4 take away 8 is indeed negative 4. What other hint you could use is that the bigger number has this sign, all right? And 8 is a bigger number, and we did know that we have a negative 8 and a positive 4. Now you flip the sign so you can find the value of x's to be negative 4 and positive 8, all right? And again, guys, it doesn't matter which one you type in first, okay? So again, a negative 4 and a positive 8, all right? So not 8. All right, so let's do one more problem, guys. Let's do one more, all right? So again, first thing, make sure everything's on the same side, okay? So subtract 5, cancel. So we have x squared minus 5x. We are subtracting something from 31. We get 36, negative 36, I mean. All right, now factored form, 2 pairs of parentheses, put my x's. What are all the numbers that multiply to give me 36? 1 and 36. All right. 2 and 18. All right. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. 6 and 6. All right. Which pair do you think would add and subtract to give me a 5? The 4 and the 9. All right. So I see a negative here, so I think about different signs. All right. So that means that one of them is going to be positive, the other is going to be negative. So if your 9 was positive and your 4 was negative, all right, 9 take away 4 is positive 5. But we need a negative 5. So that means that the 4 is what's positive and the 9 is what's negative. All right? So the 4 is positive, the 9 is negative. Okay? Now we flip the sign so we can find the values of x's to be negative 4 and positive 9. All right. So again, guys, the answers would be negative 4, positive 9. All right. And it doesn't matter which one you type in first. So I'll type the 9 first. I'll type the negative 4 after. Still give me the same result. All right. So again, guys, just like that. I am going to keep on practicing. The reason I'm going to keep on practicing is because I wanted you guys to see problems. Not like this one, because this one is similar to one we've done before, right? So subtract 6x, cancel. So I have x squared minus 49. And this is the one where you ask yourself, what two? Yup, same numbers, multiply to give you 49. So a positive 7 and a negative 7. So that means x is a negative 7 and a positive 7. All right. So not problems like these, guys. I wanted to see something that looks a little different. So a positive 7 and a negative 7. I want to see something that looks a little different from this one, guys. All right. This one. This is the exact one I was looking for. All right. So here you would add 1 to both sides. That gets canceled, and this also gets canceled. So now we have x squared minus 5x. That looks completely different from the one we've done before. All right. Normally, this number doesn't also have an x. So this is how you do it when you have two things that have x's. You're going to factor out what they have in common. So both of them at least have x, and then you're going to write what's remaining in a parentheses. So it's like you're dividing each of these terms by x. I divide x squared by x, I'm left with just x. I divide negative 5x by x, I'm left with just negative 5. All right? So that is how you factor something that looks like this. Okay? And then whenever we're finding the values here for x, there's nothing to flip out here, so that means it's 0. And then when I flip this, I get positive 5. All right? So again, guys, that was the next example that I wanted you guys to see. Okay? So the answer for this would have been 0 and positive 5. Okay? So again, guys, just like that. All right? So keep on practicing, guys, and I know you'll be able to get this.